4
Mr.
minutes.
Speaker, and I thank the gentlelady from North Carolina for yielding the time. This issue was debated for 2 days before the Judiciary Committee. There were many, many amendments that were offered before the committee. Every one of them was rejected and shot down out of, I think, a desire to preserve the bill to be whatever it was that was presented to the committee. And now here we are with a rule that results in a closed rule, Mr. Speaker. A closed rule because, as the gentlelady from North Carolina said, there's a fear that there could be amendments that would succeed that would be offered here. And one of those that I happen to have offered before the Judiciary Committee was to exempt pedophiles as a special protected status that is under this bill. Now, the rational thought on the other side I couldn't follow, Mr. Speaker, but I think it would be rational for this full body of the House of Representatives to make a decision on this. And I think that there was a fear on the part of the Rules Committee that that would also be a decision that would be made. Well, I have before me a list from the American Psychological Association of the paraphilias. Paraphilias being, I will call them proclivities in my vernacular, Mr. Speaker, and among them are pedophiles and a whole list of other kinds of activities. But there are 547 of them altogether. We can't even exempt pedophiles, let alone the other proclivities that are there, from special protected status. We can't define the language that's in the bill. The language in the bill that says gender versus sex. Gender isn't the same thing as using the word sex. Sex is what an individual can determine someone else to be. Gender is what a person thinks they are in their head, Mr. Speaker. So the blurry language of gender replaces the clear language of sex that's been in our law for a long time in history. Sexual orientation is another one of these. There are 3 different categories. We're figuring out what's in people's heads, the perpetrator and the victim. So under sexual orientation, you have a mental definition, the head of perhaps the victim, what's going on there. You have the plumbing of the victim. That's a different kind of a definition. Then you have the act that might be carried out by someone of a specific sexual orientation. No definition exists in law. Gender identity is another broad category that can be whatever individual wants it to be. So how does someone discriminate against someone else? How do they determine what these particular proclivities are, Mr. Speaker? These are the broad, mushy areas of law that lead us down a path that ends up with any combination of liberal activist judges will turn this into a mass of special protected status people, sacred cows walking through our society, self-alleged. The gentleman from Florida mentioned the immutable characteristics. No, that's not in the bill. We tried to put it in the bill, but that amendment was shot down. I wish we could protect immutable characteristics. I think they should be. And those characteristics are those characteristics that are independently verified and can't be willfully changed. That's the subject matter. 1984, George Orwell. I brought this up the last time we debated this. And I think it's important that we look at the book that was written in 1949 and predicted by George Orwell that by 1984 we would be where we are today in 2009. He was writing about the new totalitarians who learned from the Nazis and the Russian communists. And they said, the party is not interested in any overt act. The thought is all we care about. We do not merely destroy our enemies, we change them. We are not content with negative obedience, nor even with the most abject submission. When finally you surrender to us, it must be of our own free will. It is intolerable to us that an erroneous thought should exist anywhere in the world. George Orwell, 1984, anticipating we'd be having this debate in 1984, and today it's 2009, Mr. Speaker. We should punish all perpetrators. There should be no special victims, and all perpetrators should be punished the same. And I think 25 years for assault on anyone is enough. But to the gentleman from Colorado that called for a life sentence for assault, what's he do to a murderer? I oppose the rule and the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.